Have you ever felt like you couldn't live without someone? Or that you were constantly putting someone else's needs before your own? If so, you may be struggling with codependency. But don't worry, there is a way out. In this video, we'll explore how to move from a codependent mindset to an interdependent one, where you can build loving and healthy relationships. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or just looking to improve your connections with others, this video is for you. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn how to build the relationships you've always wanted, for free. Understanding codependency, signs, causes, and effects. Codependency is a behavioral pattern that can affect any type of relationship, from romantic partnerships to family relationships and friendships. It is a condition in which a person is overly reliant on another individual to the point where their own happiness and well-being becomes entirely dependent on that person's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Understanding the signs, causes, and effects of codependency is crucial in recognizing and addressing this condition. One of the most common signs of codependency is feeling responsible for others' happiness and well-being. This can lead to an excessive amount of energy being expended in trying to please and satisfy the other person. Difficulty setting boundaries is another key sign of codependency. Those who struggle with codependency often have a hard time saying no or asserting their own needs, which can lead to them feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. Codependency can also manifest in self-sacrificing behavior. Individuals may find themselves going above and beyond to meet the needs of others, even if it comes at the cost of their own physical, emotional, or mental well-being. This is often accompanied by feelings of guilt or anxiety when focusing on oneself, and difficulty making decisions without the input of others. The causes of codependency can vary from person to person, but some common factors include growing up in a dysfunctional family, experiencing emotional or physical abuse, or having a parent with addiction or mental health issues. In these cases, children may learn that their own needs are not important and become overly focused on the needs of others as a coping mechanism. The effects of codependency can be far-reaching and have a significant impact on a person's life. Codependent individuals may struggle with low self-esteem, lack of self-worth, and feelings of shame. They may also experience anxiety, depression, and stress-related health issues. In relationships, codependency can lead to an unhealthy dynamic where one person is overly reliant on the other for their emotional stability and sense of self. Overcoming codependency, strategies for building healthy boundaries. Codependency is a challenging pattern to break free from, but it is possible with the right strategies and support. So here are things that you can start doing now to overcome codependency. 1. Understand the importance of boundaries. Without clear boundaries, it can be difficult to establish a sense of self and maintain healthy emotional and mental boundaries. It is important to establish and communicate boundaries in all types of relationships, whether they are romantic, familial, or professional. Boundaries can come in many forms, such as physical, emotional, and time boundaries. Physical boundaries involve personal space and physical touch, while emotional boundaries involve protecting one's emotions and avoiding emotional manipulation. Time boundaries involve managing one's time and energy, and establishing clear expectations around commitments and responsibilities. Establishing and communicating boundaries can be challenging, especially if we have a history of codependency or a fear of rejection. However, it is essential for maintaining healthy relationships and avoiding patterns of enabling or being enabled by others. 2. Learn to say no. Learning to say no can be a challenging but empowering experience. For many codependent individuals, the act of saying no can trigger feelings of guilt, anxiety, or fear of rejection. However, learning to say no is an important part of establishing boundaries and communicating our needs and desires to others. Saying no can come in many forms, such as declining an invitation, setting limits on our energy, or asserting our own needs and desires in a relationship. It involves recognizing our own limits and priorities, and prioritizing our own well-being. One way to practice saying no is to start small. This can involve declining an invitation to a social event, or asking for more time to make a decision. By starting with small acts of boundary setting, we can gradually build up our confidence and assertiveness. 3. Identify your needs and desires. To identify our needs and desires, we can start by asking ourselves some questions. What makes us feel happy and fulfilled in our relationships? What are our personal values and priorities? What are our emotional and physical needs, and how can they be met in our relationships? Taking the time to reflect on these questions can help us gain a better understanding of ourselves and our relationship needs. 4. Communicate your boundaries clearly. There are many ways to communicate our boundaries effectively, depending on the situation and the relationship. One effective method is to set limits on the amount of time we spend with someone. For example, if we have a friend who frequently calls or texts us throughout the day, we may need to establish boundaries by letting them know that we cannot always be available to respond immediately. By setting limits on our availability, we can establish clear boundaries that protect our time and energy. Another way to communicate boundaries is to express our feelings about a particular behavior. For example, if our partner frequently criticizes us or belittles us in front of others, we can express how that behavior makes us feel and let them know that it is not acceptable. This involves using assertive communication skills to express our feelings in a clear and respectful way. 5. Practice self-care. There are many ways to practice self-care, and it is important to find activities that resonate with you and bring you joy. For some people, exercise or physical activity may be a form of self-care that helps to relieve stress and improve mood. For others, meditation or mindfulness practices may be more effective for managing anxiety and promoting relaxation. In addition to these activities, spending time with friends and engaging in social activities can also be a form of self-care. Social support is essential for emotional well-being, and having a supportive network of friends and family can help to reduce feelings of isolation and loneliness. Practicing self-care also involves setting aside time for rest and relaxation. Many codependent individuals are accustomed to putting others' needs before their own, and may neglect their own self-care as a result. However, taking breaks and engaging in activities that promote relaxation and rejuvenation can help to reduce stress and improve overall well-being. Redefining love. What interdependence really means. Love is often portrayed as an all-consuming, self-sacrificing emotion that involves losing oneself in another person. However, this view of love is problematic and can lead to codependent relationships that are ultimately unhealthy and unfulfilling. In order to build healthy, sustainable relationships, it is important to redefine love and understand what interdependence really means. Interdependence is a state of being where two individuals are able to rely on each other while also maintaining their independence and individuality. In an interdependent relationship, both partners are able to communicate their needs and wants openly and honestly, while also respecting each other's boundaries and individuality. Interdependence involves mutual respect, trust, and cooperation. It is not about losing oneself in another person or sacrificing one's own needs and desires for the sake of the relationship. Instead, interdependence is about finding a balance between one's own needs and wants and those of their partner. Interdependence involves recognizing that both partners have their own strengths and weaknesses, and that each person brings something valuable to the relationship. It involves a willingness to listen to each other's perspectives and work together towards common goals. Interdependence also involves a deep sense of emotional intimacy and vulnerability. It requires a willingness to be open and honest with each other, and to share both the joys and struggles of life. In an interdependent relationship, both partners are able to grow and develop as individuals while also supporting each other's growth and development. This requires a commitment to ongoing communication and a willingness to adapt and change as the relationship evolves. By cultivating interdependence in our relationships, we can build loving, healthy connections that allow for mutual support, respect, and growth. This involves recognizing the value of our own needs and desires, as well as those of our loved ones, and working together to create a balanced and fulfilling dynamic. Ultimately, the journey from codependency to interdependence is one of growth and transformation, and it requires a willingness to confront our own patterns and make meaningful changes in our lives. With dedication and effort, however, we can build fulfilling, interdependent relationships that bring joy, connection, and love into our lives. What do you think is the biggest challenge in moving from codependency to interdependence? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of moving from codependency to interdependence and building loving, healthy relationships. I hope you found this video informative and valuable in your own journey. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please hit the like button and subscribe to the Happy You for more content on personal growth and self-improvement.